Change and chance are the only constants in life. Architecture must accept this truth. I'm Architect Karan Anand, introducing you to Season 4, Episode 1 of Moñö Architecture. Brought to you by our brand partners Highbeck, Kitchen Studio, Turquoise and Embellish. Today we have with us Shimona Bhansali of Design HEX, one such designer who has followed these very philosophies to the key, and I'm so excited to introduce you to her. Hi Shimona.
Hi, this is Shimona from Design HEX and I'm so thrilled to be here today with you.
I'm really excited as well. So before we kind of deep dive into architecture and design and all of that, I'd like to talk to you about your early beginnings, right? So when, as kids we're growing up, you always have that interior designer who walks in and is doing the house, and we kind of let it go. We don't realize what's happening. But you, on the other hand, were very inspired by this from the early onset of it.
Yes.
So what channeled your energies into this and what made you realize that you wanted to be a designer?
I don't think I realized I wanted to be a designer ever till I was actually doing it and I was one. You know, it was very natural to me because in our home, every 5 years we would see a renovation or a new office or something new happening constantly. And my parents, by my good luck, were always very into design. They wanted everything to be done very tastefully. My father was very particular even about how we laid our tables when we had guests over. So even the little details mattered in our home, So with all of the designers coming in almost every 2-3 years for different things, I was somehow the in charge in the house to sit with the designer and give what are the, Shimona, sit down, tell what are your requirements, how do we want this, how do you want to sit, how do we want to watch TV. What happened is eventually through the course of time, because everybody else was busy in the family and I had that design inclination, I was really into craft. And my mom used to have these subscriptions of interior magazines and all. I would keep cutting things out of that, making my scrapbooks, and it was very natural.
And how old were you when you were doing all of this?
I'm talking about since we were kids. So I think by the time I was in 3rd grade, I was very well aware of what was going on. And carpenters used to leave their shifts at about 6 o'clock in the evening, and we used to have a lot of pieces of wood lying and their nails and their tools were there, and we would take our liberty. And my parents were very let the kids be and let the kids do. They were not very hard on planning your routine. So we would pick up the hammers and the nails, and I remember that we picked up one day it was all about making a ship out of that. And then we used to live in a row house, so all of the kids would gather up in our balcony and we would play that ship, and everybody would get their toys and somebody would make a swimming pool, a tennis court, and so we would really do it up. That was the evening activity. There was another day where we created a whole crane and then we attached our toy basket to it and people would load things here and we were doing that. Was 2nd, 3rd standard. So it was very much a part of our lives, working with materials, paper, wood, nails, hammers. That was very normal for us.
And it was encouraged basically.
And I think I enjoyed it. I think it's up to the child. If you have that, if you enjoy it, you would pick that as a hobby, but otherwise you would just go out and play,
Exactly.
So this is what I was enjoying naturally without realizing that I wanted to be a designer.
That's amazing.
In fact, the reason I am so comfortable without formal education in design and actually becoming a designer is because in my school, and this also I realized in retrospect that other schools don't offer a form of course that we had available to us in our school, which was called technicals as a subject. I don't think people have heard of it.
Technical drawings, right?
So it was in 8th, 9th and 10th grade. We were a few selected students in the 7th grade who scored well were offered this option that you can choose a subject called technicals, which was over and above whatever our regular curriculum was, and we were taken to this workshop every week and we would do hands-on carpentry, hands-on fitting. We've done welding. So all of our school benches that would get damaged, they would come to us, we would be fixing them. We were very used to working with materials. This was called Father Agnel Multipurpose School, and I'm so proud of it now.
Wow.
I've always been born and brought up in Navi Mumbai. And people look at it as, Navi Mumbai, you're all the way from there. But I feel that in many ways, the things we were exposed to were way too advanced. We were working in workshops and we did actual electric circuits with our hands.
In school.
Yes, in school.
It sounds very like Europeanized, and because they have.
I have not heard of it anywhere else.
Yeah, because it doesn't happen.
I assume that okay, maybe everybody doesn't do it, but a few schools would. I still not come across any child who has done it.
No, it doesn't happen.
So like it was very natural for me.
Technicals, I thought you were talking about TD, which was like
no. So we had a subject called geometric machine drawing. Now that was what the subject was called, but we were doing perspective drawings, and so I was good at geometry, and that is how I think understanding of material, joinery, drawings was way of life for me.
Yeah.
So I don't think that any other formal education in interior design would have given me that, because I was exposed to it first hand on site always since
and that's
my
the
childhood.
only way to learn. That's the only way to learn.
That's the only way, because a lot of kids coming into our studio now, I think they really don't have that on-ground experience, and I feel I'm not judging them on the basis of what they've already learned. But I know that I am actually paying them that initial salary to train them. It's just the enthusiasm and curiosity that I'm testing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can test, because no school or course can actually prepare you for anything except for actually holding the materials in your hand and doing it yourself.
Because even after I did 5 years of architecture, I was like, I'm ready for the world and this and that, and I went for my first practice, and I had no idea.
It gets overwhelming.
Yeah, it gets overwhelming, and you have no knowledge of it, because you are just, you know how to make the drawings, which are also not actually what is going on in the market.
Yes.
And it takes a good year to even kind of understand what's happening. So this is lovely that you already grew up with that and you embraced it.
Yes. So I think when I actually started doing interiors also, it was my aunt's home, my aunt's second home, our office, this, that. So those were my independent sites. I think I'm also very surprised at how my family was so okay with me taking all of the decisions. Like, they were busy growing.
And they were just like, do it.
I've ended up being on site with architects who are doing schools. So we had schools in our family. We had car showrooms in our family. So while all of this was going on also, I was around. But I didn't take it up as my professional career when I passed out of my Bachelor of Management studies.
I was just going to ask you, you did your BMS, then you started a company where you were doing packaging.
Yes.
And then now you're here.
Yeah.
And while you were doing those things, you were still practicing design. And you were kind of building a...
Because that was a way of life for me, and I was living my life then when I was doing my packaging thing also. So I was designing things. And then by luck, I got married into a real estate family.
Wow.
So then I was doing our show flats, our experience centers, our lobbies. So it was just on. So by the time I was, I sold, so I started my packaging business as soon as I finished my Bachelor of Management studies. The idea was to work for a year and then probably go and do a design course. But I didn't know what field of design, so I started doing a different kinds of craft courses and things. So I did 1 day, 2 day, 3 day courses and a lot of arts and crafts. Yeah. I wanted to expose myself to all possible avenues of design.
You did paper sculpting as well, right?
Yeah, paper sculpting I understood is so nascent in its thing. It was not explored very much. Yeah. So we decided that we would start making sculptures out of paper, and then I got tied up with a lot of wedding planners and wedding decorators, and then we started doing all of that paper sculpturing into boxes and wedding trays, and like we would make brides and grooms out of that, and then we started exporting that, and I think it was just always for me being close to something creative.
That's amazing. Actually, I have a very important question for you that a lot of our young viewers would like to hear, is that apart from designing and creating stuff, right, that you've been doing all your life, you have also taken each and every element of this and kind of made it into an entrepreneurship and built it into a business and made it what it is, right? You may make it sound very easy, like, I did this, I did that, and it happened. But it doesn't just happen. I would like for you to talk to our younger audiences about the nuances of shifting from a course to another practice, not having formally educated yourself in it and still doing it so well, being a master of it in fact, and setting it up as a business and running it successfully.
So Karan, it's right. When all of the designers, the young, brilliant, creative minds want to jump into design, they all come with this idea that we're going to start our own firms and we're going to do so well. And when they're first doing their internships, they're working under somebody, they're thinking that when I do this, I'll do this better, when I do that. But there are a lot of things that the founders or the principal designers handle that doesn't even come remotely to their tables, because it is ultimately a business. And creative people would like to say it's not about money, but without money, the hard truth is that without money, nothing would make sense. Because the moment you want to grow, you have to hire people, and you have to hire better people, and they will have their demands, and you have to meet that, and then you have to give them the growth. And for that, you probably need to hire more projects, bigger projects. You need to start charging more. When you're putting that price out there to the clients, they'll be like, "Arey, this one is charging lesser. How can you charge so much?" That comparison comes in, and then you put your foot down and say, "No, this is what I can work with." And then people put you as a money-minded person, and then there is always like a war between how to balance the whole thing. And the core truth is that money does define a lot of the things, even creatively. If a client is not willing to pay you, well, how many hours can you put into it? How many people can you put onto that site? It really boils down to that. And in a city like Bombay, it's getting more and more expensive. And in design, like how every young child who jumps into it feels like, I will jump out, start my own practice, and I'll be successful. The first 2-3 projects are so easy to do because you are not wanting to charge so much. You're okay to do it.
It's almost like cost. I'll do it at
and
whatever.
And then they feel like, wow, I'm getting projects. But what happens when you really want to grow and make it big? It takes a lot more. You need your trusted team with you. You need to look at your accounts. You need to look at your taxes. You need to look at your costings. And, God forbid, if you're trying to also get into contracting, like a turnkey thing, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, we do that.
So it is you do that, right?
My practice
is
turnkey.
You can tell them better, actually. But it is about the money. You're not going to feel guilty when you ask about the money, because it is the hard truth of life. And for that, I feel like every designer also needs to master the skills of business. They need to understand their role as an entrepreneur also. When they're sitting on that chair, which is of a founder and principal designer, their first loyalty is towards that chair. If you can't understand that you have to be able to make ends meet, you have to bring best projects to the table, you have to get the best fees, and you have to get the best payouts to your team and build the best team, then you're not doing justice to your chair. So I think the loyalty first should come to the chair, and it gets tough sometimes. Sometimes at monthly salary day, even when your firm is doing really well, even if you have like a 35 to 40 projects running at a time and of a decent scale and of very good clients, even if that is, sometimes the 7th, the 7th is the salary day in our office. 7th is sometimes still tough, and that is the hard truth. Sometimes it's beautiful, and when it's beautiful, we're throwing the team party, we're going out and all that, and it's done. But sometimes it's still tough. So I think the hard truth is that you still need to be going out there and doing your thing every day, again and again and again, because the day you think, now it's set, I can take a step back and let it chill and money will flow, it never comes. In my office, there is a whole file that is maintained for every site. That file has only my scribbles on it. So whenever we are discussing, because they don't want to have scribbles and sketching and all of that, so I have a plan on my table. Whatever site we're discussing, the plan, the large size plan is on my table, and every discussion, this room, this table, like that, I will write it over there. I just don't trust anybody, and I don't want to leave it to them. So I really rely on whatever I have scribbled and I have put in that file. You want to make your notes? You're most welcome. Do it.
But this is my file.
This is my file, and they can't lose a sheet from that file. So you will see a very, very bad and shabby looking and badly scribbled. And between my conversation, I have a lot of drawings and sketches on the side also happening, because I think I talk while doing something with my hand. That is how I am. But I think encouraging them, say, "Acha, I decided, let's do it ourselves and let's have our things organized that way." But it's worked very well for me.
Lovely. Thank you for that beautiful and very insightful answer. I have something interesting to ask you actually. So, we have this hierarchy of education, and then you do your internship or you study somewhere and then you take your job. You didn't do that. In fact, you started your practice post 30, right? So do you have any regrets about not starting earlier or do you feel like it was the right time to do it? Or are there any guidelines to this, Is there a rule book to this?
I don't know about others, but I will say that the switch for me was very natural. I started getting a lot more work in interiors because I was doing interiors on the side. And when people saw that I got a lot more work, there was the point I decided to sell my initial firm. I didn't think it was possible to sell a design firm in the
Yeah.
first place. But I decided to sell it, and luckily, because I had explored the art of paper sculpturing, and we kind of pioneered in doing what we did with it. I was able to make a sale out of that, and I was feeling like, oh my god, I'm switching at 30 and I've lost 12 years of my life, and what have I done? But when the day I decided to sell it off, I already had like 8 projects up my sleeve. So it was not like a fear for me, how will I?
Yeah.
So I can't really honestly tell you about others, but I felt like it was so organic for me, and I don't think there's a rule book, because if you're good at design, and if you're good with your details, and if you're curious, you will sit with a carpenter and figure it out. And once you've figured out something, it's going to go right. Because in the initial few sites, I would sit on my site.
Yeah.
I would do my shutters, how, what works better for me. Do I take an entire board? Do I do a aluminium framing? Or So I figured what worked best for me. And because I was not picking up 30 sites at that point of time, I was able to give more attention on site. So I was equally busy then, and I'm equally busy now. But I'm doing different kinds of things and being busy. And that time I was very busy being on site and learning. So I think if you're a learner by nature, if you want to learn, I don't think it's difficult. Pick one site, stay on the site through and through, in the process of making everything, and ask questions. Why this material? Why do you want to put a veneer here? Why do you want to put a laminate here? Why do you recommend I put only a cement board here? Why can I not put a marble on a ply? Or why can't I put a marble on a veneer? Why do I have to put on a cement sheet? If you ask these questions, that one site is a very big learning experience. I always tell my interns also, you've done one site from start to end, you can really do anything if you're focused. Because whenever we are working, we're not alone in the process. We always have contractors, trusted contractors, we have trusted vendors who will give us enough and more knowledge on whatever we need. But you need to be curious.
And every day is a learning. Like
Every
literally
day is a learning for me today. Newer materials are coming in, and I feel like sampling. We do a lot of sampling also. For all of the crazy ideas that we get, we do a lot of product development also. So every day is a learning, and I think jitna we expose ourselves to different kinds of material surfaces and joineries, we get more sound technically. So technical part of it you will always learn on site. So even if you've not had formal education and you can get exposure to a site, I think that is what would be my recommendation. But that being said, I respect that any kind of formal education opens a lot of doors. When you want to get your first internship, when you want to, everybody won't be as lucky as me to get so many, like be the unappointed apprentice to architects who worked on our projects. I had that privilege. Maybe a lot of people are not getting that. But if you are able to get an education, you get all of those internship opportunities where you will be able to learn on site or in an office. And I think that exposure, if this is the door to it, then everybody must try and get that.
Which is so easy to do, right? You just go on Pinterest or wherever and you get these inspirations and you put it, but why are you really doing it? Who is your client? What is needed? What is site context? All of this is not understood by most designers, and it's lovely that you pointed that out. And now before we continue our conversation, we'll break for a game. Okay, so thank you for those lovely insights, and we're going to play a game now. Okay?
Is it something I have to be scared of?
No, it's a fun one. It's an easy one. Okay, so Shimona, now we're going to play the emoji game. They're going to put up a placard there, and I'm going to compete with you, okay? Because there's nobody else.
Okay.
And based on those emojis, you have to guess what the word is. Okay. They're all architecturally or interior design related.
Design related.
Yeah, design related basically. Okay. If you think you know the answer, you press this cute buzzer.
So we can't say anything without the buzzer, right?
No, you can keep asking questions. So we can talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if you get it wrong, then you have to have a shot. And it's on a point, this thing. So at the end, whoever wins, which is going to be me,
I'm already
obviously.
Thirsty and scared.
I'm only going to win, obviously. We get a hamper from the brands.
Why is he so confident? He knows the words.
And okay.
Yeah. That is a chain, right? And that is OO. No, C.
C chain, skirting. Fall ceiling.
Oh, fall.
Yes.
You didn't make the fall ceiling. That's why I confirmed it.
Please. False ceiling.
No, I pressed it. You can't do it now. Abhi half a point lena padega na. I can't see that. Skirting.
If I
Tile. Tile. Oh my God, you couldn't.
I was going to ask a clue. Is that a tile?
You were going to ask.
Is it a tile?
I told you can't ask her, na. Pendant.
I was going to say it. Pendant light. Pendant light. Pendant light.
You can't take
pendant
that.
light.
I got the pendant. Half.
No, listen. What is this?
Not half, the full.
Please have a shot.
Oh no.
The loser must have a shot.
What is the last thing? I can't see it. I'm sorry, I can't see the last thing. What is that?
That's a skateboard.
Moodboard. You have to react fast. You can't take this, huh? I thought. Brick mat.
Brick tile.
Brick. Arey, it's
Brick flag. Brick bat Kuba. No. Oh, brick finish.
What? Couldn't you
Brick
wall
finish.
anything? What is
Brick.
this? Arey, okay, fine.
See,
Take it. Yeah, be happy with brick finish.
These dirty ones I can miss.
No, I'm not a brick finish person.
Shot, please.
Oh.
Have a sip. It's okay. Don't need
You've
to have
really
more.
given me a punishment.
That's the whole point, na? What the hell is this?
Lady ear nice auto. Ear is there or here. Ear is there. Okay, ear is
This
there.
is.
Here.
I said.
Her ear. She. Sheer. Oh.
Sheer fabric.
You can't do this. Fab. Oh God. You wouldn't have gotten. I can't understand what that is. Skirting.
So now, 1 second. Is this a decider or tie? This would be a tie. She's
can't
leading.
understand the last thing what that is. I can't. Can you show me that? Is that the?
Is
that
that
a tower?
that's the Eiffel Tower? Play, star.
Placement. Place.
Plaster of Paris.
Oh shit! Upstairs. What? It's really bad that we can't do
Yeah.
this. It was supposed to be easy.
This is easy, she's saying.
Yeah, what is this?
Acha, I think give us a clue.
Smoke.
Like a bar stool. A bar stool.
High chair! Thank you.
I'm not shaking my
Why
hand.
did you say hook?
Fine, I lost.
Why was it so difficult?
That was very difficult. Then she's like, this is easy. How is this easy?
It was easy, yaar. We could have thought of high. Could have been high.
Up.
Chair तो कैसे नहीं करना था? Chair तो बना हुआ था. Sketch बना हुआ था उसका.
हाँ, we
I
could have
don't
said
think the
stool.
sketchbooks are going to help us.
Yeah. Okay, so unfortunately, guys, I have lost. Very unfortunate for all our viewers. But congratulations, you have won, Shimona. And our
Thank
brand
you.
partner.
You need to wish me.
Well done.
Thank
and
you.
our brand partners, Embellish, have a lovely hamper curated for you, which was supposed to be for me, but now it's for you.
I told you to take it. I'll gift it to you. I'll give
No.
you half of it later.
So after I have won the previous game,
Your memory is so short. Abhi just we've got it cleared. Should I call for it back?
they'll keep it on this side as you're mistaken. Anyway.
I told you before we began it was mine.
Okay, so coming back to our conversation, a lot of design practices are identified by the type of work they do, a typology. Some practices take it as a compliment, and I know you don't because your work does not identify to one type of project. So, can you tell us about the efforts you put to make sure that every project is unique to itself?
I hope you can read that from my work because
I can, that's why I asked.
Very consciously make sure that one project is very drastically different. And I'm not just saying the color combinations or the material palette.
Yeah.
I am talking about the language completely. If I'm currently working on a project very ambitiously, which is a very vintage project full of prints, colors, my next project, I definitely, like the next client who's sitting with me, I'll definitely try to bring a more subtle, flowy, organic thing. And I'm doing that very consciously to constantly challenge myself. I never want to get comfortable in a style that I'm doing. I never want to be able to pick up from my one project and say, let's put this over here, or let's just take this from this project, tweak it a little bit and put it there. I just don't want me or my team to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think the best support that I have for me for this is my other division that we have called HEX Gallery, which is the products division.
Yeah.
So when we do our first interaction with the client, I get a very intuitively strong understanding of what their house could look like. And I am grateful that a few clients, in the sense all the clients that we work with, have noticed that we are able to pull off variety of design styles and languages. And I'm so thankful to them to trust me with that, because then we're able to bring this style and totally like make a very big clash of 2 or 3 styles and do something new every time. So I don't want to put myself in this is art deco, this is art nouveau, this is probably a vintage or a contemporary or an eclectic. I don't like that, because I don't think human beings are like that. Personally, sometimes I feel if I'm doing my own house, would it be very Moroccan because I like that style? Would it be very contemporary because I like this? Or would it be very wabi-sabi with earthy textures, and would it have a lot of greens in it? Or would it be totally pop of colors? Because I feel all of these sides exist in me, coexist simultaneously, and I enjoy all of these spaces. And I think different rooms cater to different moods of mine. Like where I study is different, where I sleep is different. So how can any other human know that this is my style and this is what I want to do, and that's how my entire house can look? So we love to clash our styles. Some designers may disagree with that, but personally, I think human beings are more complex. And every human being has a different understanding of themselves at different hours in the day also. So we can't define a human being or a family with multiple human beings as this is the style we want. And so I really play the role of being able to show that mirror to my clients.
That's
like,
lovely.
Are you like this? Are you like that? Would you like this? I would expose them to a lot of different kinds of images of designs that really appeal to me, but they talk a certain different language. And then different family members have very varying opinions on that. And I feel like I really try to bring all of that together. My scope in that meeting is to be able to understand what each one is liking. And the challenge that I put myself to is, will I be able to put all of this together and make it look cohesive? And that's the look I'm going to define for this house. And that's where it all starts. So I'm never going to ever enjoy even speaking to a client who says, I want a very classical home. Or I want them to be demanding of the design style that I'm going to put together for them, because it's going to be new. I don't know tomorrow if there'll be a term to it, or eclectic maybe, but no, still I would never be able to define it. I love to make a very earthy, flowy, neutral home, but put an orange color pop in it, like an entire wall, and then put like a very crazy painting. That clash excites me. And that excitement should never die from every project.
And I think the client also doesn't know what they actually want.
How will they know? If they knew it, they could just put the same term on Pinterest, get a lot of images and do their home. How would they know it? It's very wrong for a designer to think the brief was this and so I made that. It can't be that simple for me. Like till I don't bite my nails when I'm trying to put that look together, till I don't bite it, I know I've not challenged myself enough. There is a gong in my head, and I tell this because literally I think whatever goes on in my head, I visualize those things as pictures. It's not any thought. So I feel like, dong, there's a gong that goes in my head. I'm like, now this is what I want to do. And when the big idea to a site comes, that big idea is one thing that I try to connect all of the different styles to. So I try to probably keep a neutral color flowing, but then every room has its own personality. But I ensure if a parent needs a classical touch, they have it. If they want Indian motifs, they have it. If a child needs it to be very crazy, absolutely color blocked room, I will give it to them. And if I'm able to do that, then I've succeeded. So that mood boarding is very important for me. But that mood boarding is not like putting together a few images. Mood boarding is that exercise where I can put all of those different ideas, all of those different styles, colors, all of those personalities of these 5 or 6 complex human beings who share a space and share common time and individual time in that space. And can I make a mood board that is strongly individual to them, but cohesively and collectively it looks like one space? And then how can I add my touch of creativity to that, have a big idea, ring that gong and then put it out. So that is the process that I'm completely start to and involved in, and that I have till I'm not satisfied, it doesn't make the cut.
It doesn't make you keep working on it basically. And
I'm okay if I've sent it out because there was a timeline, this thing I've sent it out, but if the next day I know what I want to do with it, I will tell them, I'm sorry but I want to add this. I will do it, because I need to do justice to what I feel about it first. I can't design a space if it has not inspired me myself first.
Makes
That
sense.
inspiration needs to come from within, and that's the only way I can work. If I don't meet a client, first of all, I can't design for them, because intuitively I need to read you.
Yeah.
And I intuitively need to, and I encourage them to bring their kids to the meetings, or for me to have one-on-one interaction, because I feel like every individual at every age is unique, and I need to do justice to them.
That's lovely.
So that's how I ensure that I do my mood boarding right. It's a complex set of things that I put in my mood board, and that my every project is unique, because I'm not following a design language, because I am constantly challenging myself. So every project consistently looks very different.
So, since you've emphasized so much on mood boarding in your process, could you give us some examples of how you have implemented them on some of your projects? We would love to hear.
Yeah, so as examples, I would say I did this house which was on a Santorini theme. We call it the Zephyr. And we didn't want it to be a very gimmicky thing where we're trying to make it exactly what a Santorini home looks like.
Yeah.
We just wanted to draw out the elements that we were inspired by from there, because the client wanted a whiter home, and we do very few white homes, because now this whole trend of grey homes and the beige homes and the muted. So this was a very standout sort of an opportunity for us, and they were okay for us to experiment with things, but I think I was at that point of time exploring my product division with a lot of rugs. And my focus went on to how can I emphasize all of these elements using rugs. And there was a beautiful foyer. So the way I do my foyers are that when a person enters the house, the foyer should be kind of an index. How in a book with a lot of chapters, you have an index with chapter 1, chapter 2. So the foyer always is the index of all of the materials, the colors, the styles that you will be exposed to. So every home literally has a foyer that I try to create. Even if it's a door that opens directly into a living room, I try to create a foyer space, and I try to do a little bit of an index, a gist of what we're going to be seeing through the house in the foyer, and that has to be a dramatic index. It has to be a very big punch. It cannot be subtle. So when we did this home, we decided that as one opens the door and steps into that foyer, it should be it's a portal where you will be transported to Greece.
That region, basically.
Yes, to Santorini specifically. So we draw out everything that is obvious, like the blue domes of Italy, the lava mountains, and all the blue windows and the white texture and everything. And we wanted to go loud on it. So what we did is the front thing, we created a rug which looks like a window is opening, and inside the window you can see an entire scene of Santorini.
Wow.
And from the Santorini streets, there is this staircase that flows out of the window, goes onto a floor, and then it actually turns into a puddle. So this whole thing we did with a graphic. So it was dramatic, but because I was also exploring rugs, we did it with the help of a rug. Wow. And because I wanted to make the foyer grand, we had a foyer with an inlaid flooring with a rug on it. So that's how we picked our big idea of having a Santorini theme, but also playing a lot with rugs and making that whole portal that transports you into Santorini. And that's how we did the Zephyr. If I have to pick up some other project, when we did the House of Contours, the client wanted, the brief that client gave us, Shimona, I want a very, very earthy space, not very loud, very calm. I should want to come home, and it should be my calming space and my sanctuary. And I want a tree in the center of my living room, and I want to sit around that tree and have conversations with my friends. And I entertain a lot. So this was the only brief, and then they gave me the free hand. And of course, when he was speaking, I visualized this entire topography of sand dunes and flow and sand colors and scenes through arches. So it was drawing me towards that. So I decided there is this, and the tree that I chose had to be very sculptural, because when I'm doing sand and everything, I was wanting to get the succulentish, very structured sort of a tree. So we picked yuccas. Yuccas have this beautiful long slim trunk and then just a sprout on the top. So we picked a yucca in the center. As soon as you open the door, you can see the tree, which is very much the brief. But what is it that leads to it? all of our sand color walls in texture, but our foyer, of course, had to again be a whole index of the home. So we created these series of arches, which from this side look like terracotta brick arches, and we look at it from the other side, you see only texture. So it's a dual. It's like a hologram where you move and you see two different finishes, but it's also a picture frame to see straight at the tree, which is also located into marble contours that we created on the floor. So that's how, the big idea was the tree, it was the contours, it was the sand, it was the floor. So every product and everything we designed was in that direction. So that's how we build on something.
That's amazing. Also, before we began this conversation, we were talking about passages, and how I am unable to kind of sort it out in my projects, and how you're doing it so well. So could you tell us a little bit about that as well?
I would really want to take some credit for this. Around 10 years back, when we started doing a lot of houses in South Bombay especially, the newer buildings, there were a lot of passages because of the building structures that are coming in, slimmer, longer structures. The house layout always had these long passages that were not able to get enough light, because all of the light facing window rooms were rooms or living rooms, but the passages were dead. And they were like, it's a piece, the most expensive thing that you're spending on today is the real estate. It's every square foot of space, and losing so much space to something that is dark and dead was painful to me. And we started convincing our clients that, spend on this, do things to this, and put the arches on it, put the vaults in it. And clients were scared. They were like, it's dark, it's small, it's just 3 feet wide. It was 3 feet 2 inches, 3 feet 3 inches. Those are the kind of passages that we have now. And you are asking me to protrude more structure on it and make it heavy. And my theory is that if you take a design element, even if it protrudes, but it's so beautifully flowing, your eye forgets to read the space. Because
the narrowness of it.
How do we calculate space? We calculate space by where this wall ends, where this wall ends. So your eye literally runs through the ends, and then it calculates space, and it feels like it's small, it's tight, it's big, it's large. But I want to end that. So when your eye is not able to stop at a point, how is it measuring the space? So we started experimenting with that. So the first house that we did, which was in one of the projects in Lower Parel, it had a 3 feet passage. My clients were so lovely to trust me, and we made grey color arches, but we rounded up everything. We rounded it up all the way, and we created there is a beauty in repetition in design. When you see those arches after arches after arches, you want to see more. Your eye wants to see that continuity. Now you're not reading the space, and now you're not reading the size.
It has depth and width, everything to it.
And also we didn't create any corners. So you're just going on and on and on and on. And so when we did that, when we just did the first structure, so many people were coming in to visit the site, taking pictures in front of that, and everybody wanted to see that. And that's how we bagged our show flat in that same building, and then there was no end to the work on our table was crazy because of that one drawback, which we converted into a plus.
That's beautiful. And before we play our rapid fire, I want to ask you one more question. You have another department that you have started, a segment in your company, which is architecturally inclined. So could you walk us through what that is all about?
Yes, I would want to bring my family here, because my family really is the inspiration for me to go all out and take a very big step for our firm, which is starting a whole new architectural division. So we are into real estate, and I think a big part of my success is I start from my parents, because my parents allowed me to be crazy and experiment and a little bit risky.
They let you use nails and hammers when you were in school, which is,
they were not really planning and monitoring our day schedules and all for us. That's how we became what we are. And the immense confidence that would have taken for them when I was in my 4th grade, 5th grade, to allow me to make the veneer choices or the laminate choices and stick with it. I don't remember a single instance where they said no. I painted my TV room walls red, and they allowed that. They had that much faith, and for a parent to do that is the best gift that they could have given me. And then I met my husband, who is equally the same. So when I got married, my entire family was always allowing me to take my decisions, have my control. I think they had that kind of faith in me always. And that was really the push. So when you asked me, was it scary? It was really not for me, because I was doing it, but why was I doing it? My family was giving
Yeah.
me the avenues and trusting me to do
Yeah.
it, right? But I am always telling you that I'm lucky to get the support of a family that really trusts giving me
Yeah.
a 100-acre project today.
That's
And,
incredible.
You know, I would want to give myself some credit of being
Of
able
course.
to take that and really manage it well now, I should say.
See,
with
I think
confidence.
that getting an opportunity is one thing, but making the most of it is the second most important thing. And if you don't, then you don't get that opportunity again.
But I
you
think
know?
a lot of that comes from the confidence you gain. Like
Yes.
If we are confident that you're doing it right, you would take more bolder decisions, make it quick.
Wow. That's amazing. That's such a lovely answer and very, very inspiring. Before we call it a wrap, we're gonna play a rapid fire. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you 9 questions and you have to give me answers, but really quickly,
Okay.
rapidly.
I'll try. I'm just usually not able to make it short and sweet. It's long and hard.
See, this is not rapid, so you have to be rapid. Even this has
that's
to be
what
rapid.
that's what my struggle is going to be.
Okay, I'm
like.
starting. Lighting or statement furniture? What's your go-to?
Statement furniture.
One-
And lighting. You can't ask me such questions.
One item every home must have, no matter the style.
Rugs.
You have 30 minutes to redesign a space. What's your first move?
Color balance.
What's your favorite item to thrift or upcycle?
There's a lot. Art.
Lovely. What's the one rule of color theory you swear by?
I think constantly trying to make newer combinations work for you
Lovely.
is the fun thing to do.
In one word, what should a home feel like?
Comfort.
How do you add soul to a brand new space?
Colors, comforting colors, plants, very calm lighting, and good smells.
Nice. Okay. Which interior trend do you think will make a comeback soon?
I don't care. Trends will come, trends will go. I don't even know if trends really exist. I'm always going to keep creating my own.
That's a lovely answer. Thank you so much. So that's a wrap for your rapid fire.
Thank you.
And before we call it, before we end this episode, I'd like for you to address our audiences and just give any piece of advice or a one-liner or anything that you would like to.
To all the lovely young aspiring designers, I want to say, don't be scared.
That was beautiful. Thank you for watching Season 4, Episode 1 of Moñö Architecture, All Things Designed. Brought to you by brand partners Highbeck Kitchen Studio, Embellish and Turquoise. See you soon.
It is the term for architecture that is masculine, strong.
Brutalism.
Thank you.
Why don't you do body? Yeah, इतना मेहनत क्यों किया शॉर्ट्स बना के?